Hello everybody, welcome back to X-Plane 11. My name is Micah. We're currently cruising at about 23,000 feet up to 27,000 feet en route to Miami from Tampa. Today we're going to be showing you how to use ILS in the ZIBO 737-800 mod. First things first, I wanted to explain what ILS is. ILS is an instrument landing system. It basically uses radios that shoot up towards your aircraft, letting you know how your aircraft's doing on the final approach, both vertically and horizontally. It is considered a precision approach. Unlike RNAV approaches or GPS approaches, ILS is considered a precision approach and therefore can be used in the worst weather conditions possible that you'd still be allowed to fly in. There is, of course, a chart that you need to pay attention to when it comes to flying with ILS. This is an ILS chart. This is, of course, for Miami for runway 12, which is the runway we'll be going into using ILS. From the top, you'll see basic information you would normally see from a chart. Your DATIS, your departure ATIS arrival, digital ATIS arrival, your Miami approach frequency, Miami tower frequencies, ground frequencies, your lock frequency, which we'll get into that in a second, your final approach, not cruise, course. That's what it stands for, course. So it's the course. I mean, the self-explanatory, 124 degrees. Your glide slope, where you're going to catch that 2,000 feet. And, of course, your ILS, what your decision altitude or height is, and that's 376 barometric or 368 radio, which I'll show that in a second. Your airport elevation here is 9 feet. And your missed approach, of course, this is important to pay attention to, is once you initiate a missed approach, you're going to climb to 800 feet. Then you're going to, as you're climbing, turn left to 3,000. Then climbing, left turn to 3,000 feet, direct to VKZ, VOR, and hold. And if we look out here, you'll see this is the VKZ, a Virginia key fix, and that's out this direction. So if we miss the approach, we'll turn and head up to 3,000 feet. This, don't really worry about that. It's pretty much standard, just some basic notes and stuff. This is really where you're going to kind of get focused into, and this is kind of showing you the steps you're going to be taking into the ILS approach, the point at which you'll intercept that glide slope, getting that perfect 3-degree glide slope down into the runway. So we're going to be intercepting that at about 2,000 feet here at VEPCO, and then we'll be gradually coming into the runway. Hopefully have a great landing, but we'll see about that. So down here you'll see a couple different things. Straight in landing from runway 12. You have ILS, decision altitude or height, 376 for barometric, 368 for radio. And if you're using just lock, you're not using ILS, then you actually have a higher decision altitude that you have to make that call at. And lock is basically just it's not giving you your vertical, it's just giving your horizontal. And obviously that means you have to pay attention and make sure you're staying on the prescribed glide slope. But anyway, so those are important to note, especially for if you're flying in rough weather. And we'll be inputting these in a second as we get towards the descent. So before I get there, I want to go ahead and reduce my altitude here to 2,000 feet. In preparation for my descent into the Miami area, because that's where we're going to be intercepting at. So I'm going to put that as my altitude that I want it to hold at. Now, of course, we are still quite a ways away from our top of descent, so we got a little ways to go. So that's why I'm explaining everything now, so I don't have to worry about trying to fly the aircraft and explain it all at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and program this information into our system here. And the way we do that is we go up to the normal here, And we're going to go into this little thing right here. Now, you see it says radio and baro, and then it says mins right here. So you can't select mins, it just switches to baro and radio. And that is minimums. So you're putting in your minimums. So our barometric minimum, which was, I think, 364, 376. 376. We're going to use a smaller knob. Going to roll this thing up to 376. And then our radio is 368. Now, of course, you don't have to put both of them in here. I like to put both in here in case something goes askew. And these, of course, are just references. These don't affect your ILS approach at all. These are just letting you know, hey, you're reaching your minimums. You need to make a decision if you're going to continue or not. I usually like to keep it on barometric pressure. So that's what you do with that information right there. And of course, if you can't see the runway at that point, or if you're having a hard time getting lined up, then you initiate a go-around procedure, which we covered up here, which is the climb to 800 feet, then climbing left turn to 3,000 feet direct to VKZ VOR and hold. And we'll take care of that as we get closer. Now, to actually use ILS, you have to program the frequency. To program the frequency, you go down to the radio panel, which is down here, and you'll see where it says nav. This is your navigational radio. And right now you see there's no active navigational radio. So we're going to go up here and we're going to pull the ILS frequency, which is listed here under ILS DME. It's also listed here under the lock. So both these are the same frequencies. You can pull it from either one of those is fine. So 108.9, we'll input that information. And then we'll go and switch it over to our active. Now our standby, remember we have a missed approach that we have to go to, which is the Virginia Key VOR. That is 117.1. So if we go ahead and into here and set that up, 117.1, yes, that is correct. Go ahead and set that up. That way, whenever we want to initiate our missed approach, we can just hit the switch it over and make sure we can even just use a VOR heading to that missed approach area in case, for example, our FMC is out or something like that. All right, guys, we are in the approach phase of our flight here into Miami. We're going to be heading down to 2,000 feet until we get that glide slope activated on our aircraft, and you'll know that is the case once we actually have the diamonds appear, and once they actually become solid, that means that we have officially locked onto that ILS frequency. Now once we do that, of course, you can't just expect it to just automatically fly it. You gotta hit a couple buttons to actually get it to fly it, but in general it's pretty simple, guys. And ILS is not complicated. It seems complicated, but it really isn't. There's not a huge difference between ILS and RNAV in regards to how you fly and approach. So we're about 20 nautical miles out from the actual final approach here into Miami. Should be a relatively easy approach here, hopefully. I should say hopefully. Once we get closer in, I'm probably going to take over manual speed just to slow down a little bit before we get there. But anyway, so not too hard of a flight here, not too hard of an approach. Pretty easy when it comes down to it. So to kind of rehash what we talked about here. What we have here is our active, which is our ILS frequency. Our standby is our go around VOR point on the MCDU. I'm sorry, the MCP, not MCDU. That's Airbus. MCP. We have our altitude set for our glide slope intercept, which is 2,000 feet. We have our heading adjusted to our actually heading of our runway, which is 124. We're not worrying about the course selector. You could put it close to what a VOR would be off of, but that's not necessary at this point. On the chart itself, we looked at a couple different things, including where to find the lock or ILS frequency, how to see how you're going to be flying into the runway, your missed approach VOR, missed approach procedures, as well as how you're going to fly that final approach on what altitudes, and of course your decision altitude for ILS and lock. So we're getting closer and closer as we continue. We're about, let's say about 12 nautical miles away from our deceleration point and about 14 from our initial final approach vector. Now in reality, lots of times you would actually have the air traffic controller telling you what to be flying towards this final approach. But since we don't have one of those, I got rid of those vectors, of course, in the FMC. So as you see, we just had our ILS initiation. So we just picked up the ILS for runway 12, which we can verify IGEM. And if we look down here, ILS IGEM, which is 108.9. So we're good on the correct ILS frequency. We didn't pick up someone else's. And again, we're looking for this diamond to intercept on both of these. That'll get us nice and centered. I'm not going to use any auto brakes today. I'm going to let I'm going to let my aircraft kind of use all of its other aerodynamic braking as much as possible before I use some manual braking to slow us down. I'm going to switch this over now to initial reference to see what my landing speed is going to be at 30 degrees flaps, which is what I'll be landing at 146 knots. So what I'm actually going to do here is set my VREF to 146, and that is my target speed for landing. And we're about 15 miles away from the runway, so I'm going to go ahead and go flaps. Flaps 1 to kind of get us to start slowing down as we approach the deceleration point. And then we'll bring it out to flaps 2. And flaps 5. A little bit of speed brake here. Just slow me down a little bit more. Now as you see these diamonds start coming in, what we'll do is we'll hit the APP button, which is the approach button. 1,000 go to our level off, which is 2,000. We go into APP, which is our approach. Once it hits that initiation on the glide slope, it will officially follow that glide slope all the way down to the runway. I've got the runway in sight. Gonna go and drop flaps 15 now. And as we're coming in, we're gonna go ahead and turn on all of our fancy lights here. And we'll go ahead and go gears down. And we're on the glide slope. So we'll go ahead and initiate our go around just 3,000 feet. Set that. I'm going to go to 30 knots, I'm sorry, 30 flaps, and bring this down to 146, which is what our reference speed is. And again, just flying this ILS approach in, not too difficult, guys. Once you get that ILS frequency put in, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just doing a quick check here. We got all three greens, flaps for 30. Speed's 146, which is what our reference speed is. Everything's looking good. We got the PAPI lights. We got 2 red, 2 white. ILS is locked, frequency's on. BOR secondary frequency is set, and our go around altitude is set to 3,000. Go and let them know we're about to land. Now what I'm going to do is let this thing fly in all the way to minimum, so you see how close you can actually be with ILS when flying these approaches. Now obviously right now I would be just absolutely justified taking over manual control and flying this in manually the rest of the way, as I have definitely seen the airport and the runway in front of me, got the PAPI lights, I'm good to go. But in case of some bad ILS condition, then we need to be able to fly in a lot closer. Approaching our minimums. Continuing. Going to disconnect our autopilot now. A little high.
100.
Start flaring out, killing that.
10.
And we've made contact with the ground. Yes, I am quite aware that my minimum frame rate has not been achieved. And start applying a little bit of manual braking here.
80 knots.
Remove those and bring those down. Flaps coming up. And that's how you fly an ILS approach, guys. I hope that was informative and you understand all of that. If you have any questions, of course, you can ask me in the comments below. or you can become a member and join Discord and be able to ask me questions there and get a lot more in depth, and of course have more time for me to assist you. If you have any questions, of course, like I said, just ask me in the comments below, or if you have any questions about how to join. That's pretty simple. Just hit that join button and follow the procedures there. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time back up in the sky.